This is a Persian Indian story. Plus, it's a sci fi story. It has a mechanical horse. Once upon a time in Persia, there was a Nawab. The Nawab had a very brave son, and his name was Firod Shah. And he had a beautiful daughter, and her name was Jahanara. So during the festival of Muharram, many artists and artisans and architects and many people they come, and present gifts to the king. The king comes over and he selects only a few of those items, and whatever he liked, he rewards the artists greatly. So this particular year, an old architect comes and he brings in a horse, and everybody, I mean, like he's like super old, so everybody is making fun of him and his horse. But he gets flustered and he tells them like, you punks, you just shut up. Nobody can afford my horse. It is really special. Just wait and see what it can do. So and after that, the Nawab comes. Nawab is in Persia is a ruler or a governor. It doesn't matter. He's still a ruler. The Nawab comes and he selects a few things and rewards the artists. And once they leave, he comes to the horse and is like, "Huh, nice horse. What does it do?" And then the old architect is like, "Oh, Your Majesty, this is not just for looks. It can do amazing things. It can fly into the sky in no time. It can measure the ends of the universe. It can count all the stars and bring it to you." And he's like, the Nawab is like, "What are you talking about? There's no such thing that exists in this universe. You're just full of it. I don't believe you." And he's like, "Your Majesty, if you give me permission, I will travel and get you anything you want. I mean, I'll travel on the horse and get you anything you want." And the Nawab is like, okay. 30 miles from here, there is a mountain, and right next to the mountain is a mosque. Right next to the mosque is a date palm tree. Get me a leaf from there. And the old architect is like, "Your Majesty." And he gets on top of the horse and he pushes a button that's like a button kind of a thingy. And the horse and him, they both vanish and then they appear again. And this time the old architect has the palm leaf in his hands. And the Nawab is like very impressed. It's like, "Wow, I really want this horse. I like it. I want it. What is your price for it?" And the old architect is like, "Your Majesty, I want your daughter in marriage." Everybody's like, "Oh my God, he walks with 3 feet," meaning like two of his feet and then one cane to support him. And he's like so old, and our princess is 16-year-old child. How can we give such a beautiful, beautiful 16-year-old child to this like old person? And everybody is like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" And the Nawab is like, "Oh my God, what do I do now? I want the horse, but I don't want to lose my daughter to this old person." And just then, Firod Shah, the prince, he steps forward and he's like, "I want to test this horse. I mean, we are buyers and we should be able to test this horse. What if this horse only works for you and not for other people? So let me test this." He's saying this. He immediately gets on top of the horse and pushes the same button that the architect pushed. In no time, Firod Shah is up in the air, and all of his entourage is like waiting for him. They're waiting for him. They're waiting for him. It's been hours. He's not back. And then, finally it's nightfall and he's still not back. And the Nawab is like, "Oh my God, I lost my son. I lost my son because, I was so greedy for the horse. And all of this happened because of this old architect." So he's like, "Throw this architect in the jail till my son, till my son comes back." While this is happening, Firod Shah, he's up on the horse and up in the air, and he's just going up, going up, going up. He's like, he doesn't understand for a minute what's happening. And then when he adjusts, he does not understand, how to control the horse. He only knew about that one button thing. And he searches all around the horse and, on the rear, on the front, everywhere for any buttons or levers he can push or pull. He doesn't find anything. and he's frustrated, and then he pulls both of the horse's ears, and that slows down the horse, and the horse starts descending. It descends and descends and descends and descends and descends on top of a seven-story palace. And by that time, it's nightfall. Everybody in the kingdom is asleep, and he lands in the kingdom. It's the Vanga kingdom. It's means the Bengal province. So he lands in the Vanga kingdom, and he gets off of his horse, and he hears some faint music. Following the music, he comes down the stairs and to a room where it's studded, like it's bedazzled with diamonds, and it's shiny and sparkly, and he can see because the diamonds are so sparkly. So and then he sees a bunch of women sleeping together, and on top of a huge bed, he sees like this one beautiful, beautiful princess sleeping. Her hair is shining like gold. He does not believe what he's looking at. She's so beautiful. He pinches himself and he's like, oh, ouch, it hurts. I'm not dreaming. This is real. This is real. So he goes and he touches the princess's hair, and she wakes up. And they both go to the side, and he tells her, I am the Persian prince, and I am in love with your beauty. I'm in love with you. I'd love to take you to Persia and make you my queen. And the Vanga princess is like, I'm in love with you too. I'll come with you. So they both, they climb up the stairs. They go to the mechanical horse. They get on top of the horse, and they fly back to Persia. The Nawab is like so happy, so relieved to see his son. He immediately orders for the release of the old architect from the prison. The old architect is released, and then the prince tells them like, Daddy, I found a beautiful princess from the Vanga kingdom, and I would like to make her my queen. And the Nawab is very happy about it, and they start to put together a welcome team. Oh, so before this, what happened is like the prince leaves the wooden horse and the princess in the garden to invite her in with a proper welcome. So she's alone in the garden with the horse. And while everybody's putting together a welcome team with like music and flowers and everything, the old architect hears about like what's happening, and he has plans of his own. He goes into the garden and he tells the princess, oh princess, get on top of the horse. The king wants me to bring you into the palace. And she does not suspect anything because he's so old. She gets on top of the horse, and he gets on top of the horse, and he takes her away. They fly and fly and fly and fly away until they reach the kingdom of Greece. That's when the princess realizes that she's been duped by this old man. She starts throwing tantrums. She cries, and she makes all the huge noises, and she cries and screams and yells. And luckily for her, right, close by is the king of Greece. He's there for hunting. He hears these screams, and he comes over, and she tells the king, this old man, he kidnapped me. And the king immediately, he takes his sword and he chops off the architect's head. And then he looks at the princess, and he's like, oh my god, she's like so beautiful, and he's smitten by her. He wants to marry her. He's in love with her. But she's like, no, and she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how to escape. So she just starts acting crazy. She starts throwing stuff at people who come to her. She starts, scratching them, yelling at them, and all kinds of stuff. So the king is like kind of sort of like heartbroken. He's disappointed, and he puts her in huge room in his palace, and he keeps sending doctors. I mean, any doctor who can fix her, or any magician who can fix her. While this is happening, back in Persia, as soon as Firuz Shah realized that his princess was stolen from him, he's like, oh my god, this girl came with me, believing in what I told her, and I couldn't protect her. I need to find her. I need to protect her. And he sets on foot, and he travels and travels. He travels through forest. He travels to deserts. He and then eventually, after many days or even months, he reaches the kingdom of Greece. That's when he hears about, a prince, and she's acting crazy, and this is when she was found and everything, and he puts two and two together, and he's like, okay, that's my princess. I'm gonna, and so he dresses up like a doctor, and he goes to the king and he tells him like, I am the doctor of the mind. Show me the princess. So they show him the princess, and as soon as she sees him, she realizes it's her prince, and half of her mental illness is already gone. She starts acting kind of sort of normal, and seeing that, the king, like, believes in this doctor, and he's like, oh my god, you're working. I mean, like, looking at you itself is like working. What can we do to fix her for good? And Firoz Shah is like, okay, my plan is working. So he's like, okay, so this is what we need to do. We need to put the princess on top of a wooden horse, and we need to smoke all the area around her. That's the only cure, and it will take me 10 years to create a horse like that. So give me 10 years time. And the king of Greece is like, 10 years? No, we already have a horse. Just use that one. So they bring the wooden horse. They don't know it's mechanical. They don't know it flies. So they bring it, and they put the princess on top of it, and they smoke the area all around the horse. In this smoke, Firoz Shah, the prince, he sneaks in and he sits on top of the horse. And while nobody's observing, he presses the same button that flies the horse, and they fly up into the air, and they land in Persia. And the Nawab is like very happy to see his son and the beautiful future queen, and they are immediately wed in a grand celebration, grand wedding. And during the wedding night, the princess has the Wanga princess. She has her people burn down the horse. Because of the horse, all of their troubles and everything started, and burning it down would end their troubles. And after that, they ruled the country peacefully for 100 years. The end.